Hi, in this video, I'm looking at simplifying this expression here, sine squared of x multiplying onto 1 plus tan squared of x. So to do this, we are looking to use trigonometric identities and the definitions of things like sine or tan or secant or things like that. Now, the trig identity I'm going to start off with for this is related to this 1 plus tan squared of x, because we've got a trig identity that has that. The Pythagorean trig identity can be reduced to or play with until you get that the secant squared of an angle or of a number is equal to the tan squared of that angle plus 1. And that's exactly what we have. I've got 1 plus tan squared, which is the same here. So I know that 1 plus tan squared is the same as secant squared. So that means that I can rewrite this as being sine squared of x multiplied by just secant squared of x. And so that might be as simple as we could get it, but if we think about what the definition of secant squared is, secant squared, well, secant, we know that secant of an angle is 1 over the cos of the angle. So let's see what happens when I put that into here. So I'm going to get my sine squared is going to stay put, and I'm going to replace my secant squared with 1 over cos of the angle, and it's squared because we had secant squared, so I've got 1 over cos squared. Let's bring that squared in. So I've got sine squared of x multiplied by, well, 1 squared is 1, so I just go 1 over, and cos squared is cos squared of x. So looking at this, that means that I've got sine squared of x over cos squared of x. Now, we have seen before with our trigonometry that tan of an angle is the sine of the angle over the cos of the angle. Now, I've got over here sine squared and cos squared. So if I think about tan squared, well, that'd be sine over cos all squared, which would be then sine squared on cos squared if I bring that in. So that means that this reduces straight to tan squared of x. So that is about as simple as I can get this. I can't really go any simpler. So sine squared of x times 1 plus tan squared of x becomes just tan squared of x. So if you're asked to simplify an expression, especially something that has sine squareds and tan squareds, or even cos squareds and secant squares and cosecant squares and things like that, see if you can look for your Pythagorean trig identities. The squares can sometimes be used to help us replace things with other trig functions that can help us simplify things down.